There we go. Oh, all right. Well, I guess that my intro is just not working today. Oh my goodness. I gotta tell you guys, the technology thing has been killing me. Anyway, welcome into beginner strength training with dumbbells. My name is Jen, and this is our last class in an 8-class series to help you learn how to use dumbbells for strength training. If you didn't come to the other classes, that is just fine. You can always go back and watch them if you ever want to do that. For today's class, I recommend that you use a variety of ranges of weights of dumbbells. We'll be getting a full body workout today. Let's get started by coming into a warm-up. This is an unweighted warm-up, opening up through the chest here and pressing our palms out toward the sides, breathing into the chest. Good morning. Let's start with some twisting through the whole body. Rotating through the foot. Just swinging the arms gingerly here. Getting some extension and twist through the torso. Let's come back to center, taking our feet together, taking a triceps stretch, and bending away from that arm. And switching sides here. Perfect. Let's come into a forward fold. Reaching down toward the floor, dropping your head, shaking the head out, shaking the shoulders out, and taking your time rolling the spine all the way up, lifting your head last. All right, let's get started. I recommend that you use your lighter weight for this exercise as we move into the shoulders. I'm using 5-pound weights. We'll start with some front and lateral raises for the shoulders. Turning your palms to face your thighs. Roll your shoulders up, back, and down. We lift to the front for 2. Open for 2 counts. Come back to center and lower the weight. Now you can listen to the rhythm of the music here to guide you on those counts so that you're moving nice and slow and gingerly. On the front raise, make sure that you stop at your shoulder cap height. And on the lateral raise, as you open your arms, you don't want to open them so wide that you can't see the dumbbells anymore. Keeping the dumbbells in your periphery is going to help your shoulders stay healthy. Good. Stay with this rhythm nice and slow. Lifting for 2. Opening for 2. Coming back to the center for 2 and lowering nice and slow. Something else to keep in mind is you want to make sure that your elbows stay slightly bent the whole time that you perform this exercise. This is a compound movement, which means we combine more than one movement as part of this exercise. Make sure that you're breathing deeply. Let's do one more just like this. Well done. Taking those dumbbells down, we take a shoulder stretch, squeezing the elbow in toward the sternum and switching sides. Let's do one more set of these front and lateral compound exercises. Assuming the position, breathing the chest high. We inhale as we lift. Exhale as we open. Inhale, coming back to center. And exhale as we lower. Finding a rhythm with the breath. You're really happy that you went light on these weights because this slow and controlled shoulder exercise really brings a burn, not only into the shoulders, but also into the core as you brace your core. Great. Let's do just one more here. Perfect. Taking the weights down, you go ahead and take your shoulder stretch. I would like to talk a little bit about the next movement. The next movement requires a bench. If you don't have a bench, you can use a step. And if you don't have a step, I recommend that you use a chair with a back on it, like a standard chair. If you don't have any of those things available, then what you can do instead of our step up, which I'm going to show you in a minute, is you can either do a squat on the floor or you can do a lunge on the floor. All right, our next movement is called a step up, and I recommend that you use heavy weights for this. I'll be using 15-pound weights for the step up. This exercise is perfect for your glutes, and it also requires you to have quite a bit of balance. So if using 2 dumbbells is too much, you can use one, and you can hold on to a wall or the back of a chair with your other hand to help support you. Right? So make sure that you're choosing an option that's safe for you. We begin by placing our right foot securely and fully onto the top of the bench, the top of the step, or the top of the chair. We roll our shoulders up, back, and down, and then we take our time stepping all the way up. And we take our time lowering back down. Here we go, stepping up and stepping down. Stepping up and stepping down. Now, as we do the step up, my friends, make sure that as you come back down, your leg stays at 90 degrees. So at no time does your knee extend beyond the range of your toes. That knee is staying pretty securely over your ankle instead. That's going to protect your knee. Perfect. Staying with this rhythm, using extra support if you need it. Let's do one more. Great. Let's go ahead and switch feet here, making sure that our left foot is completely secure on the top of this surface. We roll our shoulders back. Here we go. As we lift up and step back down. You can really feel the burn in your glutes. Now, it doesn't matter how high up the platform is, but a good rule of thumb is that when you step back down, your leg is at a 90-degree angle. Make sure that you're breathing here. Perfect. Stay with this. Let's do one more step up. Coming all the way down, taking the dumbbells down, and just sitting back into the glutes, dropping the hips to one side and to the other side. Perfect. Let's put the dumbbells aside. Moving on to the biceps. For our bicep exercise today, you'll need just one dumbbell. I recommend a medium weight. I'll be using a 10-pound dumbbell here. Now, if you have a bench, go ahead and prop your bench up, not to its highest height, but to the second highest height, so that you can nestle your elbow right on the top, extending it and bending it. Now, if you don't have a bench, that's okay too. You can either do the same concentration curl that we did on Tuesday or Monday, like this, or You can just alternate your bicep curl, standing, and doing one arm at a time, just like this. All right, if you do have a bench, let's come behind it. Securing your elbow to the top, just like this, stepping back with the opposite leg. We're going to lower and curl right up the middle, just like this, nice and smooth. On the ascent of this motion, your elbow is digging into the bench, and you're squeezing the biceps muscles at the top. I recommend angling your palm inward just slightly here to make sure you're not over rotating through the forearm and wrist. Beautiful. This is called a preacher curl. It's one of my favorite all-time exercises for the biceps because it really makes sure that you are not working muscles other than the biceps here. Good. Let's do one more preacher curl here. Perfect. Stepping those feet together. Stepping the right leg behind as we rest the left elbow on the top. We squeeze for 2 and lower for 2. Be sure that on the descent of this exercise that you are fully in control of your arm. So it's not just flopping back down like wet spaghetti, right? Smooth and controlled. Really focusing your attention into the belly of the muscle here. I should say the bellies of the muscles. The biceps are 2 muscles in the front of the arm. Let's do 2 more right here. Well done. Taking the dumbbell down, opening through the chest, stretching the palms out, turning, taking the hands behind you, and threading the palm down toward the floor, stretching into the bicep. Well done. Next, we're moving into some back work. So if you do have a bench, go ahead and put your bench down to a neutral position. If you don't have a bench, you can use a step that's elevated off the floor. If you don't have either one of those tools, you can come onto the floor in a tabletop position, and you're able to do the row right here from the floor, just like this. I'll be using the bench today. I recommend that you use a heavier weight here. I'll be using a 15-pound weight. Coming onto the bench, taking your right knee to the top, coming into a half tabletop position. Taking the left arm, dropping it straight down from the shoulder. From here, we're pulling the weight back toward our glute. Elbow to the sky and releasing. Let's try that to the rhythm of the music as we lift and lower. Now, as you do this row, something that I want you to keep in mind is I want you to push your wrist in alignment with your elbow so it's far back from you. In other words, it's not like this, right? That dumbbell is aiming directly for your glute or your hip bone. Another thing I'd like you to keep in mind is to square your shoulders especially on the ascent of this movement. In other words, as you squeeze the elbow back, you're not opening and turning toward the side like this, right? You keep that left shoulder down. Let's do one more here. Well done. We're going to switch sides. Planting the right knee onto the top of your bench. Let me turn my bench this way so you can see me from this direction. Squeeze for 2 as we lift and lower. Now that elbow, as it comes up, never comes up above the hip, so it stays in alignment. The full extension of this exercise finds your arm at a 90-degree shape. Yes. Stay with this. Remember to square your shoulder, so press that right shoulder down, closing the right shoulder. Exhaling as you pull the elbow back. Inhaling as you return to a neutral position. This is called a single side back row. Let's do one more here. Perfect. Take that dumbbell all the way down. Let's go ahead and take an upper back stretch, pressing those arms in front and rounding through the upper spine. Well done. Moving into some triceps work next. For this exercise, you'll need only one dumbbell, and I recommend that you use a moderate weight. I'll be using a 10-pound dumbbell here. If you have a bench, you can come to sitting. It's a little more comfortable for this exercise. But if you do not have a bench, you can just stand and you can do this exercise just as well. Let's go ahead and grasp the dumbbell on either side, just like this, drawing our elbows close together. We lift the dumbbell overhead so that our elbows are close to our ears. We're going to lower behind the head and press back up. Now I want to show you this from the side. As you come down, you don't have to come down all the way to the back of the neck. You can keep your dumbbell elevated like this and shorten the range of motion so you're not putting any extra pressure on your elbow. I also want you to notice that as you come down, you want to keep your elbows tracking forward. In other words, don't let your elbows fly out like this. Do you see the difference? Ooh, my goodness. That is going to put a lot of stress on your joint of the elbow. We don't want that. Instead, keep your elbows shining forward, squeezing in close to your ears. Well done. Stay with this as we lower for 2 and lift for 2. 2 more right here. Last one. Take that dumbbell down, shake out those arms, get the blood back into the hands. I'd like to do one more set of these overhead triceps extensions. When you're ready, grab that dumbbell by both sides, lifting the arms overhead. We lower for 2. And we breathe. And we check our form, making sure that our elbows are shining to the front. As we lower the weight, making sure that we're not flinging the weight down. or just letting it drop on its own. Make sure that you're controlling the weight at all times. Beautiful. Let's do 2 more here. Last one. Taking the weight all the way down. Let's take a tricep stretch, reaching one arm behind the back, elbow straight up to the sky, and switch sides. Our next exercise moves into the chest. If you have a bench, we'll be working the incline. If you do not have a bench, you can use a step, and you can put extra risers on one side so that the bench is on an incline. If you do not have either of these accessories, don't worry about it. You can just do a standard chest press on the floor. All right, so those are your options. If you have a bench, join me in lifting the bench up to its middle setting on an incline, just like this. I'll be using 10-pound weights here. You'll need 2 dumbbells. As you come onto the floor or the bench or the step, we lie back over the top and take our elbows wide as we alternate presses. Great. Pressing one side at a time, nice and controlled. Something I'd like you to think about on the chest press. Take a look at your elbows and make sure that they never dip down below the top of the bench. Now, if you're on a floor, it doesn't matter because the floor stops you from going through it. But if you're on a bench or a step, keep those elbows elevated. Stay with this pace. Also, I'd like you to take your palms and rotate them just slightly toward each other. Just the tiniest bit. Wonderful. We've got 2 more on each side here. As you press up, think about also pressing out and down slightly so that the weights hover above the sternum and not above the throat. Perfect. Coming all the way up to sitting. Let's go ahead and shake those arms out, taking some circles to the front and taking some circles to the back. We have 1 more set of this incline alternating chest press. Let's grab our dumbbells. Assume the position high elbows. Here we go as we press up on the right and control on the way down. Press up on the left and control on the way down. Stay with this. Now, as you press up, there's no need to overextend your arm. You can keep a slight bend in that arm. Just stay nice and controlled, so smooth. Wonderful. Ooh, my arms are starting to shake. We've got 2 more on each side. Stay with it, stay strong. 1 more on each side here. And come all the way up to sit, taking your left arm behind you and rotating the shoulder and chest away from the arm. And switching sides. Opening up through the chest here. That feels so good. We have 1 exercise left for today's session. This is also the final session of our beginner strength training with dumbbells series. For this exercise, I recommend that you use a lighter weight. I'm using a 5-pound weight here. Taking your dumbbell to one side, we're going to take it up overhead, just like this. From here, we begin to do some slow marching exercises in a standing position. Now, as you march, it's not a regular march. This march is the kind of march that drives the knee up as high as it can go comfortably. Also, make sure that knee is coming right up down the middle. In other words, none of this, right? If your knee can't go up very high, that's okay. Let's switch sides with our dumbbell. Switching to the other side, stabilizing through the core, and really driving that knee up. Right down the middle, that's important. The height of the knee doesn't matter so much. Well done. Coming back to stand, taking your feet together. Taking that dumbbell right here, we're going to twist, extend, and come back to center. Twist, extend, and come back to center. Now, one thing I'd like you to think about as we do this standing exercise is your hips. As you twist, I want you to think about keeping your hips facing the front the whole time. So not moving the hips at all. Instead, you're rotating through the torso and really engaging those obliques. Good. Let's do one more here. Perfect. We have one more exercise in this standing abs sequence. Taking your feet shoulder width apart, knees and toes facing the same direction. We take our dumbbell out to the side and we crunch and curl toward the right knee as we lift it. Just like this. Keeping it smooth and controlled. Oh yes. Two more here. Wow, well done. Let's switch to the other side. If it's getting too heavy with the dumbbell, also you can do this without weight. So just take it down if it's getting to be too much. Here we go. As we twist and come back to center. I like to follow my gaze with the dumbbell as I twist. Also making sure that the arm that holds the dumbbell has a slight bend in the elbow, so you're not overextending. Beautiful. Two more right here. You can do this. Finishing strong. Just right. Taking that dumbbell down. Let's take a full body stretch, reaching the arms up overhead. Give me a slight back bend at the top of your spine here. And let's take a side stretch, stretching the side body. Coming back to center and going to the other side. Taking those legs and arms very wide. Knees and toes in the same direction. Let's take a forward fold here. Dropping the head. Good. Taking your time rounding through the spine, letting your arms hang as you come all the way up to standing, bringing your head up last. Thank you so much for joining today. I hope that you had a wonderful workout. Again, if you missed any previous classes in the series, there are 8 classes, and each of the classes explores different exercises, foundational exercises, using just dumbbells and sometimes a bench, but there are always options without a bench. Say hello in the chat. Let me know how your workout went. And starting next week, there's a new strength training series called, Pyramid Pump. We'll be doing similar exercises also with dumbbells and a little bit less instruction, a little bit less chatting from me. I hope to see you there. Have a great day, everyone.